This is my review of Lies Weeping, the latest installment of The Black Company by Glen Cook. This has been a 25-year wait since Soldiers Live, and I'm gonna give spoilers for the series up to this, but not for this book, if possible. This book takes place like a year after Soldiers Live, and it has 3 analysts. 2 of them are the young Varoshk sorcerer girls that came into the company in the last book, Shukrat and Arcana, pictured on the cover. In my last video, I talked about how some of the narrators in this series use modern-sounding language, which is a little jarring to the time period. This is the case here as well, where the girls really sound like Valley girls, which is humorous, but it gets kind of repetitive. I'm very happy to be back with the company. I'm interested in everything they're doing, but I'm not sure why the author has to make them sound so 20th century American. My favorite part of these sections was their encounters with the lady, whose character really comes forth in this book. Most of these sections are just them hanging out with the company, dealing with weird things going on with Tobo and the unknown shadows, and dealing with signs left by possible defectors to the company, and a difficult detail to clear out wild monkeys that are eating the local crops the company depends on. Sovereign is the captain now. I will say towards the end, where the girls go on a mission that turns much more interesting and dangerous, their narrations become more serious and also really great. I mean, I guess I'm just going to have to trust this author to pull these strange and fascinating stories from his brain in whatever language that he hears it in. But it's the third analyst in this book, which makes it truly awesome. The third analyst is Croker, who's not really Croker anymore. If you remember back in Soldiers Live, he switched places with the steadfast guardian Shivataya to become sort of an immortal watcher in the unnamed castle on the glittering stone, basically saying goodbye to all his responsibilities and earthly connections to follow the instincts of his inner scholar, his inner detective, his need to know the answers to every question. The chapters from Shivataya's point of view are outstanding. There's nothing else in the rest of the series like them. For one thing, if you've gone deep into the series and you like learning more and more about the lore of like the domination and the Senjak clan, Shivataya time dives to look into all that stuff, because it's like, I feel like this character of the steadfast guardian is literally the author time diving into his own like imagination. And if you thought Port of Shadows was just like a one-off that didn't have to do with the rest of the series, that is incorrect. The information that Shivataya discovers in this book has a lot to do with the events of Port of Shadows. The prose of the steadfast guardian in his time dives is some of Glen Cook's best. This is such a weird author in that you get this much of a back and forth between Valley Girl talk and like Croker's chilling dark reflections. He puts a lot of attention into like the process of this steadfast guardian character as he explores the past, describes how he fractures his consciousness to observe different time periods and different places at the same time, and then brings those shards of consciousness back to illuminate each other. And to me, that's like a perfect metaphor for life itself, incarnating as an individual to experience the world from a single point of view, and then returning to the pool to share what you saw with the whole. But Croker's not quite alone in this process. He has a lot of communication with that troublemaking Senjak girl that's trapped in the basement, Soul Catcher. And she's constantly talking to him, taunting him, trying to play some kind of long game to get him to free her from her captivity. It's a great relationship. A lot of the time it sounds like Croker's going a little bit mad. But I would say the personality of Croker's character as Shivataya in this novel is the most interesting part. It strikes me as like the author's impression of what getting very old is. You know, I think he's 80. And it's not a standard or expected impression of getting older. It's absolutely unique. The 2 storylines of Croker's business and the Varrock girl's business, they do intersect. And mild spoiler, the book ends on a serious cliffhanger. And I can't wait for the next one. But I have to wait for the next one because it's coming out November of next year. It's called They Cry. No cover art available yet. So overall, I gotta say this book is unmissable for Black Company fans. You have to deal with some slightly annoying teenage girls talking for quite a bit of it, but it's 100% worth it. And hopefully in the second book, the girls will be acting a little more like in the serious mode that they're in at the end of this book when they're actually called upon to become badasses. But thanks for listening. Check out the other videos on the channel. And catch you next time on Sci-Fi Readers and Writers Corner.